This is real life where people are going to look and they want the energy and they want the feeling. And I feel like Bobbi was stiff a little bit. Bobbi was like, my comedy is me not talking a lot. And I'm like, shit, this is different.
All right, Marco, I guess this is how we're doing this now.
Industry plant podcaster Bobbi Althoff is snapping back at fellow comedian and former collaborator Funny Marco. This comes after he canceled their tour together and ignored her calls. Like everyone else, she learned about their tour being canceled through social media. This is some messy drama, so let's get into it. It feels like podcaster Bobbi Althoff came out of nowhere. It's kind of giving me industry plant vibes, but she's definitely made her mark, and she's gotten into several feuds, including one with the man who gave her her start. I find this feud fascinating because Funny Marco pretty much gave Bobbi her career, because Bobbi was a mommy YouTuber who had gotten a bunch of followers that way, but she wanted to interview a celebrity and told, I believe, her followers that she would give someone $300 if they can convince a celebrity to do an interview with her. I guess Funny Marco got a tweet one day from someone asking to go on her show so they can get $300. He agreed, and Bobbi Althoff is put on the map. So these two did well together. They went viral, and they decided to plan a tour together, which to me sounds a little bit outrageous. It's like you have one viral podcast and you're going to do a full-blown tour. But this tour is not happening because Funny Marco recently took to social media to share why he canceled the Open Thoughts First Really Good Podcast tour with Bobbi. Now, Marco had his excuses, like her stage presence was lacking and that her comedic style did not work for a live format. Being kind of awkward and dry, it works in an interview, but it doesn't work when you've got hundreds of people watching it. Frankly, it just comes off awkward. But here's a little bit of Marco talking a little bit about this, which of course this is going to stir up drama because he's confronting why he canceled this tour, while Bobbi claims she hasn't heard a word from him.
I love Bobbi to death. Bobbi's a good person. But when people pay their hard working money, I really, really care about that. So when I'm on stand-up tour and I'm selling out these tours and then me and Bobbi be able to come together and people are paying their money to come see us, I really want that to get better. I don't want it to be the same. I don't want to take nobody money if you can't get it again.
This article reads, quote, Marco was transparent when explaining why he axed the tour with Bobbi. He admitted that he himself as a comedian is learning to entertain a crowd. It's not the same as being a TikTok comedian or a YouTuber or a streamer. You can't go back and delete it and redo it. So to be a live entertainer is a different kind of talent, and he's backtracking his belief in Bobbi. Marco said that he would attempt to engage Bobbi in conversation on stage, but she wouldn't really speak, which made the interactions difficult for him, and that he wanted to work on their act and even paid script writers to develop a show, but it didn't work out. Bobbi also had a lot of personal things going on: a sudden divorce, a completely shift in career. I mean, she started, I guess, making money for herself. Bobbi allegedly told Marco, "That's not me. My comedy is not me talking a lot." He didn't agree, stating, "You can do that on a podcast, but a live show, it's different." Ultimately, they couldn't get to an agreement on this, which I kind of see what Marco's talking about. I mean, Bobbi just silently being on stage, just being present, being awkward, isn't going to sell out a show.
I did stand up before, and I'm still doing it. So I understand, I'm learning how to entertain a crowd. And it's not the same thing that you get on Instagram. This is real life where people are going to look and they want the energy and they want the feeling. And I feel like Bobbi was stiff a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, hey man.
Stiff a little bit? I mean, are we surprised?
Let's really, really work on this. And I paid script writers, let's really get them a show. And where she told me, that's not me. Bobbi was like, my comedy is me not talking a lot. And I'm like, shit, this is different. You could do that on the podcast, but in real life, this is different. So her comedy was different from what she said, from what she wanted to bring to the show, which I can respect. You know?
I definitely don't find someone just awkwardly interacting with others as comedic gold. So I can see why he's reserved, because it's okay, well, now I'm gonna have to put on the entire show and you're going to just side eye me and give me stank face and try to play off your comedy that way. Now, the fans have some mixed reaction. One person wrote, I like Bobbi, but when we're going to admit that she's not funny at all, it's the reactions and responses from the celebrities she's interviewing that are funny. Another person wrote, don't nobody want to go to a silent comedy show, Bobbi. Another person wrote, Bobbi is there for black clout and money. She wants nothing to do with the culture. And then finally, this person wrote, he just called her unseasoned in the nicest way possible. Many called out Marco for not discussing his decision with Bobbi. I mean, that's pretty big to set up a tour with someone and then to, I guess, publicly cancel it without reaching out to them. This person wrote, I can see it from both sides, but I'm with Bobbi. If you want something to be successful, you have to play off people's strengths. You cannot make people be unauthentically themselves. Another person writes, he could have had a conversation with her if he claims they're cool. And then finally, let's not make this about color. Clearly, he did her dirty by speaking on this publicly. Okay. I don't know how I feel yet. Now, Bobbi is revealing her side of the story after funny Marco pulled the plug on their comedy tour. Bobbi expressed her shock at the move, stating that she found out about it through social media. Bobbi suggested that her informing Marco of her social anxiety may have contributed to Marco's decision to cancel the tour. Bobbi explains that she and Marco were supposed to go on a comedy tour last year, but she had to back out at the last minute because of personal life problems. She was going through a divorce with her husband, Corey, and it was getting rocky. She also had a surgery to go through, which I don't know like how they would have scheduled this in some kind of way. I don't know if it was a routine surgery. Either way, she had a lot on her plate, so they had to postpone it. Well, Bobbi's not taking it anymore. She is calling him out, saying that he's going on all these podcasts, all these shows, talking trash about her name and not telling the truth about what really had happened.
All right, Marco, I guess this is how we're doing this now. I saw your video. Not gonna lie, I was a little shocked. So here's my version of what happened. Last year, we were supposed to go on tour, and I backed out last minute because my husband...
Wait, is she standing by a pool because he was also standing by a pool? Okay, Bobbi. See, her humor, you've got to really think about it. And then was it like, did it make me laugh? No, but I was like, oh, why does she look like she's going to fall off a cliff? Probably because she's trying to make it look like she's by a pool.
My husband had just left me. I just had surgery. And I was super nervous going into this because I was not prepared. And I text Marco and I said, Marco, I'm so sorry to do this, but I am so depressed right now. I literally want to myself. He doesn't reply to me. And then he unfollows me. I woke up from surgery actually to him unfollowing me. And not only that, in the coming weeks, he would go on multiple podcasts and talk about how much he didn't f- with my style of humor.
Now, after the incident, the comedian approached Bobbi again about another tour together, to which she agreed.
Fast forward some time, I'm in Vegas doing an interview, and he bumps into me, and I'm like, oh, hey, stranger. He's like, let's go on tour again. I'm like, all right, fine, let's do it. During this tour, I'm trying my best. Every time I'm telling him, like, Marco, he's like, you need to do this, you need to do that. And I'm like, Marco, I'm trying my best, but, like, it's hard for me to get out of my comfort zone of, like, I have social anxiety, like, debilitating social anxiety. That's why this whole thing of me, it's not fully a character. I actually am socially awkward. I'm socially awkward. It's embarrassing. I don't want to be, so I lean into it.
Bobbi alleges that she gave her best, but Marco kept criticizing her performance. This prompted Bobbi to confess that she has debilitating social anxiety, which is why that she plays off her awkwardness. Now, Bobbi goes on to talk about their last show together, and she admits that she had a little bit to drink before she went on stage. And she said that this worked in her favor because she breezed through the show and she even felt better about it after. Like, damn, Marco, we did that. Bobbi claims at the time that Marco even admitted that she had killed it. So she's a little bit shook up to why their last show isn't kind of like sticking up for the rest of the tour. I mean, can't it all just be like that? And Bobbi can just be drunk the entire time. Either way, he decided he wanted to cancel this tour. And despite Bobbi's team trying to reach out to Marco multiple times, her calls were ignored. He continued to tag her in various social media posts and to post, I guess, about her, but just completely ignored her in private.
And I am doing my best on this stage. Our last show, I try my best to get out of my comfort zone. I drink a little, and I thought it went so well. I was like, Marco, I did everything you said, and like I actually felt really good about it. I felt like I really got out of my comfort zone. I really felt good about it. And he's like, yeah, you killed it. It was great. Fast forward a couple more weeks, and I hear from my team that he canceled it, and I'm like, what the hell? Marco canceled the show. Like, why? They're like, I don't know. So I'm like calling him. Doesn't answer me. I'm like, okay, congratulations on the baby. Doesn't answer me. He just won't answer me. But then he's tagging me in posts of Taylor Swift dancing and being like, that's Bobbi. And I'm like, okay, at least we're still cool. Fast forward to today, and I get tagged in a video of Marco standing by a pool talking to everybody about why he canceled the tour. I don't know anything. Anyway, with all of that said, I'm gonna go on my own tour since you don't want to go on tour with me anymore, and it's gonna be funny. It's gonna be great.
Does everyone need a tour? Does everyone really need a tour? I don't know. A tour company reached out to me. I was like, yeah, we're gonna wait until we can figure out something to, like, I'm more of the Marco side. I'm not gonna go on and just sit on a stage and do nothing. You know what I mean? Like, let's wait for the book or something first. Here are some reactions on social media. This person writes, just sounds like creative differences. TBH, nobody was wrong for real. Marco could have communicated he didn't want to do it with her though. Another person writes, it sounded like Bobbi was not ready for the big stage yet and Marco's not trying to rob people. Weird when you bring it to the internet though, when you've got people's phone number. And then finally, this person writes, it sounds like a marketing scheme for them to reunite sometime in the future, which could be a nice way to package and rewrite this tour, the forgiveness tour. But I feel like their feud isn't that serious, you know? We need like a bigger beef for like a forgiveness tour. But I want to hear what you guys think in the comments below. I think it's a fascinating little feud, and Bobbi is really interesting to me. I hope I get to meet her in some way or some capacity. Maybe work with her in some way in the future. I don't know. There's something really awkward about her. I wonder how I would interact with her on camera because I'm so blunt. I'd be like, what? Huh? Like, Trisha, you know that meme? What? Oh, okay. Okay, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in a new one soon. Bye, guys.